Using the Skyline database, we need to finish the last 3 bullets on our assignment list for queries. So these 3 bullets or queries will use multiple tables in answering the questions. So as we can see in this first one, it looks like we're going to be using the banquets table as well as the employees table. So again, when we're adding fields to the design grid, we need to make sure that we add the tables and fields as they are requested. So let's go ahead and go to Create, click on Query Design. And so it says banquet reservations between 6/14/2015 and 6/30/2015, and the employees making the reservations. So from the banquets table, so I'm going to double click on banquets, and I'm just going to go ahead and expand that out a little bit, and I'm going to add the fields it asks for. So it says include the reservation ID, the reservation date, the first name, the last name, and the telephone number of the person making the reservation. Then there's a semicolon. It says from the employees table. So now I'm going to double click on employees table to add it. Again, I'm going to expand that out so I can see it. I'm just going to close the add tables. So because we created the relationships, notice how the relationship is created. Because of this relationship, that's why I'm going to be able to pull some fields from the employees table to get my query results. So from the employees table, I just need the first name and the last name. So you can see why when we're working with naming of fields, we need to do things to set them apart so that we're not confused as to what tables they're coming from. So this is the first time really in the design grid where we can see, we've always known fields and what that means, and tables. But now you can see that you can be pulling fields from multiple tables. So for the criteria, it said we needed to use reservations that were made between. So we're going to go to reservation date. Again, I'm just going to drag that out a little bit so I can see what I'm typing. And my criteria is between. So I type between space, and then the first date is 6/14/2015 space and space 6/30/2015. So I made sure that I typed my criteria in there correctly. I should get 12 records. And so when I run this, down here where it says record 1 of 12. So I have all 12 records that I need. So I'm going to click on the X. Yes, I want to save it. And I'm going to give this one the name of June reservations and click OK. Remember, names are supposed to relate to what the query is about or the question that's being asked. Okay, the next bullet, I'm going to click Create, Query Design, and this one says we need banquet reservations that have not been confirmed. Let me just pull that up again so you can see it. That have not been confirmed, and employees making the reservations. From the banquets table, we're going to include reservation ID, reservation date, and the confirmed field, which is a yes/no field, and then the first and last names of the person making the reservation. Then from the employees table, we're going to include first and last names. So back in my database, some people will ask the question, can't I just add the tables I need to the design grid first? Absolutely, you can. I sometimes encourage students just to do them in the order that they see them so that they're not making some errors. But I can add the banquets table and I can add the employees table. It'll create that relationship. I can expand that space out. And then I can add the fields that are requested. You just want to make sure that you're pulling them from the right table. So from the banquets table, I need reservation ID. I need reservation date. I need the confirmed field, and then I need the first name and last name of the person making the reservation. Then from the employees table, I just need the first name and last name. So I just want to know those who have not been confirmed. Again, maybe I want to run this just to see out of my 23 records how many haven't been confirmed. And it looks like I have 10. So when I go back to my design grid under confirmed, so it says we want to know those that have not been confirmed. So I'm just going to type no and then run it. And so any of those that don't have a check mark in, I have 10 records. So no would be my answer. I'm going to go ahead and click on the X to close this. And I want to name this one reservations not confirmed. Okay, the last one, we need to know, so somebody reserved the banquet room and their last name begins with WIE, but we don't know who that person is. So I'm going to go to create and I'm going to go to query design. And then from the employees table, I am going to go ahead and do as it says. Whoops, sorry. It says from the employees table include the first name and last name of the employee who booked the reservation. And then from my banquets table, I'm going to include the first name, last name, and telephone number of the person making the reservation. So the banquet room, according to our instructions, was reserved by someone whose last name begins with the letters WIE. So somebody made the reservation, not the employee, but whoever made it. So I could run this and eyeball through my list of people and looking for a WIE, I see a Wygand. So there should only be one result. Well, when you look at your criteria, this is where that wildcard comes in. So you should be able to use WIE and the asterisk because that means it's going to be any value that starts with WIE and ends in anything. So under last name, under criteria, if I type WIE, and again, I don't have to capitalize it, and do an asterisk for the wildcard, and then run it, I get Wygand. So I'm going to click on the X and save it, and I'm going to call it Wygand reservation, and then click OK. So that's how you use multiple tables when you want to create a query. And I would like to point out that in this short example of doing queries, the most tables that we used were 2, but you can use multiple tables, 3, 4, 5, however many tables that you need to create queries based on the questions that you may have about your data.